Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order, the April 26th meeting of the Dana Point Planning Commission. Before we begin, I'd like to ask Commissioner Opal to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, please stand and follow along. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And with that, can we have a roll call?
Please let the record show that all planning commissioners are present with exception of Vice Chair Donor, who is absent.
Great, thank you. This brings us to the first item of business, which is approval of the minutes. Commissioner Gabbard.
I motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. I'll go ahead and vote. You're going to want to tap on your screen first.
There.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Great, and that's approved 4-0 with Commissioner Donor absent tonight. Next up is public comments. Do we have any public comments tonight?
No, Chair Nelson.
All right, thank you. I don't see any consent calendar items, so that will bring us to our public hearings. And our first is Coastal Development Permit CDP 20-0027 to demolish a single-family residence and construct a one-story single-family residence located at 200 Monarch Drive. Do we have a staff report?
We do. Assistant Planner Justin Pauley provide a staff report.
Good evening.
Thank you, Chair Nelson. Thank you, Commissioners. Hello, everyone. My name is Justin. I am the Assistant Planner for the city. Here, I will be presenting on behalf of staff Coastal Development Permit 20-0027, which is also known as the Black Residence. Here we have the vicinity map for the project, which shows the project location within the Monarch Bay Community Association. The subject property is a corner lot located near the intersection of Pacific Coast Highway and Monarch Bay Drive at the address of 200 Monarch Bay Drive. Give you some background on the project and the project scope of work. The project is located within the residential single-family 4 zoning designation and is located within the Monarch Bay Homeowners Association. The project entails the demolition of an existing single-family, single-story residence and the construction of a new single-family, single-story residence in its place with an attached garage of 460 square feet. The total habitable square footage of the new proposed residence will be 2,872 square feet. Within the footprint of the home, there are 3 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, kitchen, a great room, a covered patio, and a laundry room. In addition, there are various accessory uses to include that of a pool and outdoor fireplace, which will be issued under separate permits from this entitlement. The project requires a coastal development permit because the project entails the demolition and reconstruction of a new single-family residence located within the appeals jurisdiction of the city's coastal overlay zone. Moving on to some of the architectural plans for the project, we first see here the site plan, which will just show the layout of the proposed improvements in the residence, as well as demonstrates compliance with some of the setbacks per the residential single-4 zoning designation. Moving on to the interior, we see the floor plan here. You get to see the layout of the different rooms and the non-habitable areas for the proposed single-family residence. Here are some architectural elevations for the proposed single-family home. The design is that of a modern architectural design, which will include a flat roof and large full-height windows. Some of the exterior materials that will be utilized within the design of the single-family residence will be that of oak wood siding, as well as accents of dark gray steel and stone veneer. Here's just a rendering of what the proposed residence will look like once completed. Onto the development standards. This chart will simply demonstrate compliance with all development standards of the underlying zoning designation, residential single-family 4, which does include front and rear yard setbacks as well as side yard setbacks, maximum height, maximum lot coverage, and the required parking for a single-family residence, which is that of a two-car garage, in this case attached to the single-family residence. In conclusion, the project scope of work includes the demo of the existing single-family residence and the construction of a new single-family residence with attached garage and related improvements. All applicable standards of the residential single-family 4 zoning designation have been met. The project is designed, has obtained approval from the Monarch Bay Homeowners Association. All findings for coastal development permits have been met, including consistencies with the city's local coastal program, visual compatibility with existing residences within the area, and will not impact any public coastal access. It is important to note that there are 2 conditions of approval that should be modified. Condition number 33 and number 34. They do reference another coastal development permit application, and therefore should be revised to reference coastal development permit 200027. In conclusion, planning staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the draft resolution and approve coastal development number 200027 for the demolition and reconstruction of a new single-family residence. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions which you may have at this time.
Great, thank you, Ms. Pauley. Any questions from the commission at this time?
Just a couple comments, and this is more just to help clarify the record. The erosion control plan shows a different footprint, and I realize that these are preliminary drawings, but just so we have it on the record, it's going to go back and it'll go through building and safety, and they'll correct whatever they need to on the building plans.
Correct, sir. Yes.
And additionally, it's unclear on the grading plans exactly what type of curb is going to go back in when they take out the drive approach. So my assumption is it's going to be consistent with the existing.
Yes, it will be consistent with the existing and will be reviewed from Public Works and Engineering.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Anybody else? Okay, great. At this point, do we have any comments, public comments?
No, we do not.
Okay, great. I'm going to close the public hearing, bring it back for discussion and a motion. Anyone want to lead off?
I'll go ahead and start. I have no comments. It's a simple, demolish a new building. It's a very nice style to bring a great architectural element to that neighborhood. A lot of those houses are doing the same, so I am fully supportive of this.
Commissioner Gabbard.
Yes, I want to thank the applicant for bringing this to us. I agree with Commissioner Opal that I think the architecture is keeping with what is being developed in Monarch Bay, and I think it's a great addition to the community, and look forward to seeing it developed.
Yes, I absolutely agree, and the fact that they have kept they've kept the foot there basically, and they haven't interrupted their neighborhood, which we oftentimes see. So I'm in favor of the project.
Great, yeah, I will echo my fellow commissioners' comments. The home is well designed. It certainly fits in with the neighborhood. It's consistent with our zoning, our general plan, and the requirements of the Coastal Commission. So with that, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Coastal Development Permit CDP 20-0027 to demolish the single-family residence and construct a one-story single-family residence located at 200 Monarch Bay Drive with the corrections to conditions 33 and 34.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Great. Get a first and a second. We go ahead and vote. All right, congratulations. Good luck. All right, that brings us to old business, which is short-term rental subcommittee update. I don't have anything to add at this moment.
Just wanted to mention that the City Council is considering the short-term rental business regulations that the Planning Commission is forwarding on. So that should be happening next Tuesday.
Okay, great. Thank you. Brings us to new business. New business is item number 4, Doheny Village study session. I assume we've got a staff report for that?
We do. And before I turn it over to Belinda, the Planning Commission last discussed Doheny Village back in 2019, maybe a year and a half ago. So we have been working diligently over that period. The environmental impact report has hit the streets as of today. So we wanted to introduce the Planning Commission to the details of the zone text amendment that is being proposed with the Doheny Village Plan. And so that will be the focus tonight. And then at our next meeting, we'll be having like an EIR workshop to allow us to dig into the conclusions of the EIR. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Belinda Dinas.
Thank you, Brenda. Good evening, Chair Nelson and Planning Commissioners. My name is Belinda Dinas, Principal Planner, and I'm pleased to present to you an update on the Doheny Village Plan, as well as background and context for tonight's study session on the draft zoning code update. The Doheny Village Plan is a new and improved plan for zoning and public spaces with 2 distinct components, a zoning code update and a capital improvement plan. The zoning code update is a rezoning effort to establish a new chapter in the Dana Point zoning code, and the capital improvement plan prioritizes various connectivity and beautification projects in the village based on community priorities and available resources. These draft documents are available for public view on the project webpage. I'd like to start off by recognizing that a significant amount of community input went into the development of these documents and the drafts that they are today. Beginning in October 2017 with the Doheny Village Merchants Association, village stakeholders and city staff collaborated to inform, consult, and involve community members of the visioning and land use planning process. Stakeholders reviewed the city's general plan for goals and policies specific to the development of Doheny Village with the intent of creating a plan that was in keeping with these very policies developed back in 1993. The goal of this planning process has been to prepare land use designations and development standards that create a more appropriate framework for the village. And here are some of those photos from those outreach efforts. In March 2018, the City Council adopted these guiding principles for the Doheny Village Plan. The following principles shown on this slide were developed by the community and have served as the baseline for the proposed land use and public improvement recommendations. The City Council also directed staff to continue collaboration with stakeholders in a working group which was formed in July 2018. The group was tasked with developing the zoning code and CIP in a series of regular monthly meetings that were open to the public, noticed on the city's calendar, and publicized on social media. During these meetings, stakeholders brought forth their analysis of site conditions, and they provided recommendations of revisions to the city's existing zoning code. Even in 2020, the group transitioned to virtual meetings for project updates and proposed changes to the plan. It is important to highlight that the incorporation of public input into these draft documents has been the foundation at every step of the entire process. This timeline shows the working group's completed tasks from creating an action plan, line item reviews of land uses and development standards, and consideration of definitions and changes related to parking and residential density. Once the draft code and CIP were drafted by the working group, the Planning Commission conducted a preliminary review of the draft in November 2019. In December 2019, the City Council approved initiation of the project and awarded a contract for preparation of the project's environmental review. As Brenda mentioned, I'm happy to report that we've reached a big milestone, and the draft Environmental Impact Report, or EIR, is available beginning today for public comment. The draft and technical reports can be found on the city's website. A community workshop will be held, as Brenda mentioned, on May 10th, and there will be a required 45-day comment period, so all comments on the EIR must be received by the end of business on Wednesday, June 9th. I'd also like to provide a quick update on the CIP, which identifies recommendations for priority projects toward improving connectivity, beautification, traffic calming, and public parking in the village. Rather than develop a formal beautification plan with prescribed design treatments and extensive construction at this time, the group sought to enhance aesthetics by proposing public art, lighting, and landscape programs to be implemented right away. The group formed the Village Beautification Committee to work on short-term projects. Community members have presented concepts for potential public spaces and industrial-inspired sculptural art. Construction and manufacturing businesses and building suppliers are volunteering together and pooling resources for these public art projects. They identified potential locations for mural art and color to bring interest and dimension to the area. Members also provided conceptual renderings to highlight neighborhood identity through use of signage and wall art. The City Council directed the Arts and Culture Commission to lead the charge for the Doheny Village Public Art Program, which will be launched with a call for artists by summer of this year. Most recently, the city has installed new pedestrian-oriented bollard lighting all along Camino Capistrano. The project is about 2/3 of the way complete. In 2020, a comprehensive lighting study was conducted for Doheny Village, which identified areas where exterior lighting in the public right-of-ways could be enhanced. The working group recommends that the highest priority capital improvement project is to enhance pedestrian and bicycle connectivity from Doheny Park Road to Pacific Coast Highway, which would connect the village to the beach. For those of you who may not be familiar with what is referred to as the connectivity study, it has been in the works since 2013. The project involves wider improved sidewalks along Doheny Park Road from Las Vegas to PCH, new sidewalk connection from the Riviera timeshares, new bike lanes, redesign of the signal intersection of Doheny Park Road at PCH, additional landscaping and hardscaping, and enhanced lighting. With more good news to share, city staff has been working in collaboration with Caltrans, who has committed to constructing about 2/3 of the project in the portions located within their right-of-way. Caltrans is preparing documents for their request in June to their commission because the project is an ideal candidate for state active transportation project funds, with hopes to begin construction as early as fiscal year 2023-24. The city will be responsible for the project design work authorized by council and the remaining 1/3 of the connectivity project within the city's right-of-way. Incredibly exciting to see this priority project move forward. Lastly, before we get into the zoning code study session, I encourage the greater Dana Point community to engage with us and learn more about the Doheny Village Plan. Beginning with updates to the project's webpage on the city's website, please sign up for email notifications, take a look at our frequently asked questions page, and review the most recent draft documents and the project's timeline. Starting this Wednesday, April 28th, and for the next 3 weeks in a row, there will be opportunities for anyone to join 1-hour virtual office hours with city staff and an online sessions on Zoom. It will be an open forum for people to ask questions and provide feedback on the plan. We have a separate playlist for Doheny Village on the city's YouTube page, which features pre-recorded presentations and future video clips about the Doheny Village plan. There will be several opportunities to engage with officials through participation in public meetings, such as this one. The public can provide written comments or attend and provide comments in person. All of these meeting dates and future meeting dates will be posted on the city's calendar and sent to those on the interested parties' email list. There is a dedicated social media and marketing campaign for this project, so keep an eye out on Facebook, Instagram, Dana Point Times articles and ads, and I've already heard buzz from the ad in the trash bill mailer. The ideas for this public outreach would not be possible without the contribution of the working group and the Doheny Village Merchants Association and the immense work that they completed to get to this point. I personally thank the working group and members of the Merchants Association for their hard work and dedication. So moving on to the study session and focus in on the specific changes that have been made since the last time the Planning Commission had conducted its preliminary review. Overall, the format of the zoning code and the scope of work has not changed. Recent changes include a new section on non-conforming parking, provisions for a housing incentive overlay, clarification on residential density, greater restrictions on proposed building height greater than 35 feet, and requirements for mixed use or commercial along Doheny Park Road. Just to recap, here's the draft zoning map, which remains the same as 2019 and establishes 3 new zoning districts. In purple is the village commercial industrial, which would allow mixed-use light industrial and commercial retail uses, where industrial uses had not been allowed since the adoption of the Dana Point zoning code 30 years ago, but have existed since county jurisdiction. In red is Village Main Street, which includes properties that front Doheny Park Road. There are some existing properties with residential on upper floors, and so the intent is to allow mixed use rather than the existing zoning standards for big box retail. In brown is Village Commercial Residential, which would allow horizontal mixed use, meaning that there could be commercial or residential allowed within this area. Currently, residential uses are only allowed as accessory to primary commercial or vertical mixed use. Existing residential properties wanting to improve and expand are currently limited because of their non-conforming status. At present, there are no changes proposed to the community facilities or recreation zoning districts. However, the city recognizes that a separate specific plan has been initiated at the Capistrano Unified School District bus yard site. Starting off with non-conforming parking, this is applicable to the entire project area. This section of the code provides incentives for changes to new uses for existing properties without providing additional parking, and minor additions up to 10% to existing structures or intensification of use. An example of this would be the sample property on Camino Capistrano, such that in this case, the current property would meet the proposed code for the parking standards. However, doesn't meet the current code today as it is designed. However, in the future, the use could change, for example, to a coffee shop or a restaurant use, which requires 1 space per 250 square feet per gross floor area. So in this example, the property would be able to change uses without having to provide for additional parking. Next up is the housing incentive overlay. Please note that this overlay is only applicable to 3 locations as identified in Exhibit C in the zoning code. Here it identifies that the Capistrano Valley Shopping Center, or commonly referred to as the Big Five and Smart and Final site, is identified, the Ganal Lumber properties across the street on Doheny Park Road, and then a vacant lot on Domingo, which is owned by Capo Beach Church. Those are the 3 sites that are applicable to this housing overlay. The Doheny Village Zoning Code update plays an important role in the identification of sites for the city's housing element update. In order for sites to qualify for the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, or RHNA, there are certain thresholds necessary to meet the criteria for the site's inventory and count towards capacity. Therefore, this overlay has been applied only if residential uses are proposed at these sites. If housing is proposed, at least 50% of the total building floor area, except for parking, must be residential. Density for this site must be at least 20 dwelling units per acre and a maximum of 35 dwelling units per acre. It should be noted that the underlying general plan land use designation and underlying zoning remains as 30 dwelling units per acre. So please keep in mind that these sites may remain 100% commercial. The overlay is only applicable when a developer or property owner chooses to create housing units, which is not currently allowed today. Here's a calculation of each site with the minimum and maximum build out for based on the overlay. For clarification on residential density, there was language added to clarify that affordable housing units would not be counted in the density calculations, except as required by state density bonus law. And so state density bonus law has specific provisions, and so any project seeking those incentives under the state law would not would be counted in the density calculation. In order to address some of the public comments received regarding concerns related to building height, additional language was drafted which requires a setback of 50 feet from any exterior lot line for structures that are limited to a maximum of 35 feet in all zones. It should be noted that the 35-foot height is the maximum allowed under the current code. Furthermore, any building proposed to be greater than 35 feet is subject to Planning Commission approval of a site development permit, and additional findings would be required. Improvements exceeding 35 feet are limited to architectural elements and open ceiling height. These photo simulations of maximum building height are from the draft DIR. You can see where the blue line is the 35-foot height limit allowed today, and how the 50-foot setback works for the building improvements with additional height beyond. It should be noted that in all three zones, the 3 stories is the maximum limit for story count. Here's another view from Doheny Park Road. The maximum height is 40 feet on the west side of Doheny Park Road, and also on the east side of south of Victoria. The maximum height is 50 feet on the east side of Doheny Park Road, north of Victoria. So you can see the intent of that additional setback was to minimize massing from street view. To maintain and here's an example from looking down Victoria Boulevard. So 40 feet south of is the building height limit south of Victoria, and north of Victoria is 50 feet. And you can see that difference there with the setback of 35 feet along the street view. To maintain and enhance a Main Street feel with commercial retail storefronts along Doheny Park Road, residential uses are proposed to be prohibited on ground floor within 130 feet from Doheny Park Road, as shown in the hatched areas. However, residential uses are permitted on upper floors. This timeline illustrates the next steps in the zoning code update process, and more specifically outlined in the staff report on page 5 and 6. Because of the project's nexus to the city's housing element update, the Doheny Village zoning code update must be approved by City Council no later than October 2021. Following City Council, we will then submit to the California Coastal Commission for a local coastal plan amendment. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the project, receive public comments, and provide feedback on the Doheny Village plan. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Belinda. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for staff at this time? No. Okay, I have a few. Bear with me here. Couple of things here. Answered that question already. So I want to make sure I understand your clarification on the density in the, or the max density. If I heard you right, what you're saying is if someone came in with a, let's call it a 45 unit project with affordable housing, and they were allocated or they were allowed to use the density bonus, they could, in theory, exceed the density, the baseline density by providing affordable housing. Am I hearing that right?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. That's what I thought. So basically just following the state law as it relates to density bonus law and relief from standards and stuff like that.
Correct.
Okay, great. Next question. So I know you said 35 feet, and is that at all the 3 new zoning districts, the 35 feet max?
The maximum within the 50-foot setback from all street frontages, basically.
Okay, because I know there's a couple, well, like the VCR and the VMS allows for up to 40 or 50 feet, depending on, if you're set back. So in those cases, they're allowed over 35 feet to a max of 50 feet?
Correct. So the maximum of 50 feet is only applicable north of Victoria and east of Doheny Park
Right,
Road.
okay. So it's not just a straight 35. In certain areas, it can go a little bit taller.
Correct.
Depending on the site. Okay, great, thank you. I think those are all my questions, so thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and I assume we're opening this for public comments. We're not making decisions tonight. We're just receiving information. And
Yeah, it's
getting
not a
feedback.
traditional public hearing, but we are allowing for public
Great.
comments.
So at this time, we'll call for public comments. Do we have any comments?
Yes, we have one.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll call your name in just a second. If you are here and you do wish to speak and you didn't fill out a card, if you could fill one out. Thank you. And our first speaker is Rich. I think it's Chade? Yeah, if you could just step up to the mic so we can hear you. Okay. Perfect. Great. Do we have anybody else that wishes to speak tonight? Okay, seeing none. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back, and this is an opportunity for the planning commissioners to provide any feedback or comments from what they've seen tonight.
All right, it's just good to see this moving forward. It's been quite a while, so happy to see it going forward and looking forward to our discussion on the EIR next month.
Yeah, I want to thank the staff and the working group for all the hard work. It's an incredible amount of work, and there's the village is one of it's a unique opportunity within the city of Dana Point to, create an environment where somebody can live and walk to work with their hands, create something, stop off for dinner, and go back to their house without ever having to get in a car and get on a freeway or do any of the, really have a good quality of life. It really is a village. And so I applaud all the work that you guys have done. I too look forward to the EIR next month and digging into some of the weeds. So thank you for all your work.
Commissioner Murphy.
I have lived in Capistrano Beach for, 14, 15 years, and gone up and down that road and, gone to the beach and all, and shopped down there, as we know. And it's been a long road, but it's very exciting. And I know people who speak to me about what's going on down there. It's really important to Capistrano Beach and down below, where we know there's so many wonderful homes that have been there forever, all shapes and sizes, and it's exciting. And thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, just a couple quick comments. I mean, I think I got to say that I am super impressed with what this group's come up with respect to some of the pedestrian connections. I mean, these are just outstanding upgrades to that community and that part of town that have not been made for various reasons. And to see the potential of, what it looks like to be able to bring pedestrians from Doheny Village down to Doheny is really exciting. Belinda, your outreach is you've always done a good job. I've always watched you do it, but I'm really super impressed. It's sort of like when I've seen, where this started, and I don't even know if you were involved, at least when I first became a commissioner, but this is certainly kind of the best in class outreach. What you've managed to develop is enough outreach to engage the community, and then you got incredible community engagement, which speaks to the outreach efforts that you and your team have done. So, bravo. I know we've still got a path to go down, but the plan itself looks great. I look forward to seeing it sort of develop. And it's really great to see the protection of those industrial uses. I mean, there's some really important, I wouldn't go as far as to call them historic, but definitely some operations there that, created some of the surf culture, and we definitely don't want to lose those, all for the sake of development, and it's great that those are being protected. So those are my comments. Just great job to everybody on the team, and really, again, to the engagement and really what I would call incredible engagement from the community and the residents. Thank you for your engagement, and look forward to continuing this process. All right, that's it for that item, so thank you, which moves us to the next item. I believe it's staff reports. Yeah, staff reports.
Nothing for me tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner comments. I have the first one. So I have the honor of presenting Commissioner Opal with what I use at home as an argument ender. My wife doesn't appreciate it. By the way, it's her birthday tonight, and so hopefully I get to go home and celebrate with her. But on behalf of the city of Dana Point and myself and this commission and staff, thank you for your time as chair. You offered some incredible leadership to us, and that is not lost on me. And I really enjoy working with you as a colleague, and honored to share this with you tonight. And hopefully, it can end some arguments at home at some point. So, thank you. Speech.
I don't think I'm going to take it home. I'll take it to the office. Might use it. I might have more disputes there.
Yeah, just get another one.
But no, I truly enjoy serving on this commission. That's why I reapplied, and I'm back here for another 4 years. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other comments from commission? Commissioner Gabbard, no? Commissioner Murphy? Nope, okay. Seeing none, I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn the meeting. The next planning commission meeting will be held on May 10th, 2021, beginning at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter in the city council chambers located at 33282 Golden Lantern.